Okay, and we're back. So, alright, I think I finished up by covering schedule plus mail and giving a cool example of that. So, as we saw, quick is this thing I just did, or in an hour. And idea, so this is supposed to. Yeah, you'll see that these four actually all put things into my to do file under the heading inbox. And I've got different kinds of things I can add to my inbox. So this is how to quickly capture an idea. This captures something I should read later, probably a paper. This captures an interesting link. And let's see, what does this do? This adds actually a top level heading, not in the inbox, to my to do file with an email. So this might be something like read this. Well, I was going to say read this paper, which I guess is what this is for. But what I mean here is like read this draft of a paper. Someone sends me a draft. Oh, I need to read this. Or it might be if I send an email asking some questions, then somebody might respond with the answers. But maybe in the meantime, I started working on something else. So I open the email and I just I tag this to do like with a link to the email. So this stores. You'll see here. I think this is how you store a link to an email from U4E. So yeah, that just lets me, okay, I need to look at this email again later. So put that in my to-do list. This is just a plain to-do entry. Yeah, just ask me for a task name. This actually is for tracking my weight. Yeah, I've been lifting weights a lot, so in most cases I want my weight to go up, but maybe I've overdone it a little bit with the bulk, so now I also kind of want it to go down. So I've got this weight.org file in my org roam setup, which we'll get to later. And this just adds an entry to the table. So the date and the weight. And then code. I'm not actually sure what this is. I think this is for a link to a code file. So it's like a to-do. Like I find a to-do in the code, and I just put that on my to-do list. Oh, jump back to this link later and fix this bug or something. Org archive location. Ah, interesting. So this is actually superseded by some file local variables I use in my org file. And I'm not even sure I have that directory on my computer, so probably I should take that out. My hierarchical to-do statistics. I am pretty sure this this is for, what is this for? Cover just direct children. Oh, so this shows to-dos like for the whole tree, I guess. So this is if you do like the brackets with a slash in them, and you want to count basically how much of the to-dos below this are done. It doesn't just look at the direct children. If you have like project, do something, to do, task 1, and then you have under that to do subtask 1, that'll count like as 2 or something, I think, 0 out of 2. But it'll count all of them. Something like that. And then I add some keywords, org to do keywords. I've got projects. I've got some types here, idea, read, link. And then sequence, I have to do, wait, and done. Yeah, this is a handy thing. This is funny. I actually know about this now. But you'll see if you evaluate this. Whoops. If you evaluate this, it pops up this handy window for looking at colors. But this is just picking some colors for these to-dos. So we got wait, it's kind of intermediate between, I think to-do is red. And done is green, so I guess orange is intermediate between those. Ask is for asking questions. Run means, for some reason, there are 2 of these in here. Yeah, this is for like a calculation that's running. Nope. I really feel like nope shouldn't be green, but it's green because it's another done state, basically. Nope means it's not done, but I'm not gonna do it. Idea, blue, read, green. Watch. I don't remember what watch is. Watch is probably like read, but for video. Link, issues. I guess these are like GitHub issues. I'm not sure. And then, yeah, project color is magenta. And then for tags, I've got bad, okay. I never use these. And then we've got some of my students' names, actually. Yeah. Where I was just going, I guess I assumed I was going to get like enough students to have the whole rainbow type situation. So we started with red, orange, yellow, that kind of thing. But I don't use those very much. Set queue, bookmark, fontify. I'm pretty sure this is trying to turn off the thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but sometimes when you jump around or maybe save a link or something, you'll get this little bookmark symbol in the left, in the margin. I think this is me trying to turn that off, but I'm not sure. Not documented. It doesn't work, by the way. So, or maybe this does. Maybe this is doing something else, but I'm not sure. All right. This is just setting some faces, as you can see, custom set faces. And I'm not really happy actually with the colors in my org mode buffers. So these need some more work, but I was trying to do something here. Setting the done face. Obviously the target was set done text color to the same as to do. Because I think I used to mark it done and like the whole thing would change color, which to me made it look like a subtree or something. So I was trying to set that. Stripe buffer. I think this has something to do with org mode tables. For a while, I think I was using a mode that would like highlight the alternating lines differently, because I was going a little crazy with org tables. I'm guessing that's what that is. Let's see, describe base stripe. Yeah, I think I don't even have that package installed anymore. Probably need to delete that. All right, now hopefully this is going to start moving a little faster, because this thing's like 1,500 lines. But well, it must only be, yeah, we're 25% of the way. Okay, next package, org bullets. This just gives me cool bullets in org mode, not just the stars. They like contract into cool looking symbols. I do use ledger mode. I haven't been using this very actively, but ledger mode is really cool for doing like accounting. So for a while I was trying to track my finances a little more carefully, and I was using ledger mode for that. It's pretty neat. There's also a package company ledger, which helps you complete things in ledger mode. So that's cool. Yeah, so that's my ledger setup. Okay, now here's some useful stuff right here. Completion and vertico. Now for a deep dive on this, you probably want to see one of my recent videos setting up a new Emacs config. I think probably the first episode was Zach. But basically, this is what I use for completion. As you'll see, yeah, in Emacs, this is vertico. And the stuff over here is this package marginalia, where it's just adding additional information. So vertico is what I use for vertical completion. I turn this on globally. I use marginalia globally to supply that additional stuff. And then I use orderless as the vertico documentation recommends, so that you can get basically fuzzy finding across this stuff. So if you actually watch that Zach video, you'll notice that we didn't install orderless, and so Zach actually has to type things starting with the first word. So if I wanted to do Emacs, I can type phase, and you see how it still matches describe phase. Without some of these completion style changes, I would have to start typing describe, or it would filter it out. So this for me, basically what I did for completion is I started out with Helm. Then I thought Helm was, like too big, too clunky. I switched to Ivy. And I really liked Ivy. Ivy still might be near my favorite. And then for a while I went super minimal and I used I do mode, which I actually still kind of like. Yeah, you can do I do mode, which is a built-in to Emacs. It's not bad. If you're trying to use just stock Emacs, I highly recommend I do mode. But if you want to install some packages, then upgrade to vertico. The one thing, this is probably a me issue, but the one thing I don't like about vertico is sometimes it filters too aggressively. And I don't think that actually has to do with Vertigo. I think it has to do with orderless. But I have not found out the right orderless config to stop this. So for example, sometimes buffer names get filtered out early in a search, but if I keep typing more of the name, it pops back up. I don't. Hopefully somebody watching this can give me a tip on fixing that, because it's really annoying. It's the one thing that I don't like about this setup that I don't remember happening in Ivy. Hopefully that sounds familiar. See, it's like too nebulous to Google for help, I think. And I'm not sure I can put together an example here on the spot, but it's something like if I were, let's say I have something called like scratch.py, but I want to go to my scratch buffer. And I hit Control-XB, switch the buffer, and I start typing scr. I think it would only show me scratch.py. But if I typed like all of Scratch, or I put an asterisk in, then it would be like, oh, here's Scratch. Something like that. So I type more, and a new thing pops in. Like, I don't know why it's getting filtered out early on. It could be a bug. Maybe it'll just start working one day if somebody reports a bug. Okay, anyway. Yeah, orderless is a completion style, so we add it into completion styles. We ignore case on this stuff. Completion category defaults. I guess I turn that off. I think I added this recently too. And stuff like that. Okay. Yes, now I also add consult, which has some other handy features for Vertigo and stuff. I think we saw it with consult iMenu kind of thing. Or like there's consult rip grep, which basically prompts you for a string to search, and then and it shows you like sections of the buffer that match that string. It's really cool. Consult's pretty cool. Here we've got something commented out. This is useless because yes. Yeah, so if you look at a language like Python, and you use consult iMenu, which I said before I have bound to Control-CI, it shows you like a different breakdown of things. It'll show you like, here are the methods, here are the classes, here are the functions. In Rust, this doesn't really work. I mean, it kind of works, but in like a really weird way. Like, it'll have functions. I mean, it calls structs classes, which is fine, but yeah, something weird happens. And so I was trying to customize this, but as I'm saying, some part of my setup doesn't categorize them properly for iMenu to actually work on them, which is unfortunate. I'm hoping maybe with Tree Sitter this will be easier to do. Yeah. Anyway, the next thing we've got embark. I could probably definitely get rid of this. Embark basically lets you let's say you're trying to do something with the mini buffer, and you realize you want to do something else. That's like what embark's for. So this is really useful when mixed with consult, because, for example, one of the actions you can do is collect. And I think the recommended use case is to set something like embark. There's some like top level embark function where you're supposed to hit this, and then you hit some sub binding to pick one of the actions. I found that I pretty much only use embark collect, which takes whatever's shown in the mini buffer and collects it into its own buffer. You can also do things like embark become, which is basically, let's say you hit the binding for switch to buffer, and then you're scrolling through your buffer list, and you're like, wait, I actually want to kill that buffer. You can hit embark, which I think they recommend you bind to meta period, and then it prompts you for what you want to do on that buffer instead. That kind of thing. Just if any of this sounds interesting, look up embark. It's a cool package. I found myself not using it that much, so I do still have this embark collecting though. I'm pretty sure this is copied from the repo, and I don't use which key anymore, so I can probably get rid of this. That displays key maps using which key. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I don't have which key in here anymore, so probably I can delete that. Whoops. P. Nice. Embark which key, embark which key. All right. I just got rid of that, so get rid of that. Boom. So yeah, check out Embark. It's pretty handy. Then this package has some kind of integration between Embark and Consult. Oh, apparently I do have which key. Oh, but I don't have it turned on. I don't have it turned on. All right, I'll put it back. I'll put it back just for now. Whoops. Okay, we'll put it back for now. Embark. Yeah, integration between Embark and Consult. Which key? If you turn it on, it can be helpful. I guess we can try it out. Which key mode? Let's say I hit Control X and then I wait. It'll show me all the options. So I think this is really handy if you're new to Emacs. I'm not really new to Emacs. I find it kind of annoying, so I turn this off most of the time. It's not just if you're new to Emacs, it's if you're new to some kind of mode, actually. So I find this really helpful when I'm using Embark because it has all these different options. But there you go. So I forgot that I didn't actually do anything. I just wanted to turn this back off. So I leave it off most of the time, but it could be useful. So I have this package Perl doc. This is for reading Perl documentation inside of Emacs. We've got toml mode. We've got an extraneous blank line here. Yeah, pretty simple. I guess, yeah, there's nothing to say about these, right? You can go look up the modes if you're interested. I'm not doing anything cool. It's just reading Perl documentation, editing toml files. I think I should actually replace this with the built-in toml ts mode now, though. Toml ts mode. Yeah. So this is going to be cut pretty soon, too, probably. Because I don't use any of the cool features. I basically just want syntax highlighting. Assuming it has cool features I don't even know about. All right. Now, getting into some of the exciting stuff. So, of course, you know, as a scientist, two of the main things I do are, the two things I do are do research and write papers. So I have used LaTeX a lot in the past few years. And basically what that means to me is I've done a lot of customization for my Emacs setup to make it as easy as possible for me to do things. I write papers in LaTeX. I make presentations in LaTeX. I guess that's pretty much it. But I do a lot of stuff in LaTeX. So use package auctex. That's what I use to do it. And I've talked about this in more focused videos. So I'll try to go through some of the deep cuts here in my config. So yeah, we ensure, we defer. When I'm in LaTeX mode, I turn on fly spell mode. I turn on display fill column indicator mode. So that's what you're seeing over here. I like to see the fill column. I do turn on hide show minor mode, which in theory will let me fold things up, but I don't use that very often. I think LaTeX mode is useful for folding things like tables. So if I just want to look at the text, and I don't want to see this big block of table in the middle, I can fold up the table. And then what's this? This is basically a bunch of little things that I want to add into a hook. So I've definitely covered this in a video before. This is how I tell it to use Zathura to open my PDFs. I also turn on line numbers mode. So I think I have this added as a hook on prog mode hook for programming modes. But LaTeX itself, you know, is not a programming mode, I don't think. So I turn this on here. I also add this simple symbol include graphics. This is a way I can use the macro completion facility in auctex to insert include graphics. If I were really cool, I could do something like put a function in here that would actually like prompt me for the right file for the graphics and stuff. But I don't have that yet. I also add this environment, a frame. So this way I can use auctex to insert a frame in a Beamer slide. And this time I actually do provide the a function. And this is copy and pasted from something else. In auctex. So I took it as a template and then I basically put in all the stuff here. So it prompts you for a frame title, frame subtitle, and a frame is the Beamer term for a slide, basically. So I'm making a slideshow. I want to add a new slide. I just hit Control-C, Control-E. It prompts me for environments. I type frame, and then it walks me through creating a frame. So you'll see frame title, frame subtitle, and end marker. Really handy. Insert caption. Apparently I adapted this from a figure and I left one of the comments in. Okay, nice. Well, but at least that helps us. That'll help us track down the original source if we need it. Okay, add a frame. I added vice. This I think was to tackle something I ran into with Zach, where I was trying to complete some things in LaTeX, like packages, for example, and it wasn't going through Vertico. It was like going through the Emacs default completion, which is not very nice to use. So you can wrap this. You can advise the function to use vertico advise, and now it does work. I added this. I think we covered this in the Zach video. Tech command master is what runs basically when you hit Control C, Control C. So this is if you want to compile or run bibtex or view the PDF. And what I'm doing here, I'm just saving the buffer before, basically, adding some advice. Now, okay, this is pretty cool. I have this binding for users of org mode. This will look familiar. So this is how you edit source blocks remotely, right? Like in the mode. I define this function called edit table remote, which takes a LaTeX table, converts it to org mode, and opens this in an org mode buffer. So that you can do things like slide the rows around, slide columns around, add a new column really easily. And then when you finish editing it, it converts it back to LaTeX mode and sticks it back in your LaTeX buffer. Really cool. Really cool. That would be part of I should make that part of a package too, probably. All right, then we've got some configuration. Set queue default tech master nil. Not really sure why that's in here. I'm not even really sure what this is. The master file associated with the current buffer. Oh, okay, it asked me. Ah, yes. Yeah, I think this is nice because if I go into a sub file for a project and I accidentally hit Control C in there, LaTeX will try to compile it like it's the master file. So, yeah, I guess that's why I set it to nil. When in reality, I want it to compile, like I usually call it main.tech, and then maybe I'm inputting like a chapter of something or a section or a table. If I hit Control C in there, I don't want it to try to compile that file standalone because I'm going to use input on it above. And so I want, it won't compile. Like it won't actually work with PDF LaTeX on that file itself. It has to be part of the project. So you can set the tech master for that file to main.tech. And then when you're in there, it'll run the right thing. So this is setting, yeah, LaTeX string face. This is just some color. Font LaTeX sedate face. Off the top of my head, I don't really know what these are about. But there you go. Rosy brown. Like, I don't know where these faces come up. I don't remember. But there you go. My bibtex generate auto key. So this is actually something about bibtex, obviously. I'm pretty sure what this is. I think bibtex generate auto key takes whatever you typed in your bibtex entry. So usually you'll have like, at article, and then you put in all the fields. You got title, you got authors, names, stuff like that. So I didn't like what it was generating automatically for me. So I tried writing my bibtex generate auto key. Yeah, which tries to take this stuff. Names, year, title. Yeah. That's what I was trying to do there. But it doesn't seem to work very well still. I got it to work once when I actually added this. But it doesn't seem to work most of the time, unfortunately. We already kind of looked at this. Yeah, this is how you can make your own LaTeX environment, something like this. I definitely recommend looking for one of the environments that you use regularly and that you like how it prompts you or walks you through adding it, and then just adapting that to your needs. That's what I did here. And it can be a little bit of an iterative process trying to get it just right. But I am happy with that. Now we're moving into what I would call the vertico-bibtex section. And as I mentioned in one of my videos with Zach, I would actually like to turn this into an Emacs package, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. These are just some helper functions right here. So we've got vertico-bibtex get field. And actually this is just searching through an A list. Yeah, return the field matching key and candidate. So I think it gives you some candidate list and goes through this. Vertico-bibtex maybe truncate. So this takes a field and a length and truncates it if the length is greater than what you request. Vertico-bibtex build map. So apparently this takes candidates and does some processing on it. Let's see. So it maps map car, this anonymous function. So this is handling one specific candidate. And we're saying let. So key is vertico get field key. Title is maybe truncate get field title. We're truncating it to 35. Author is this. Yeah, maybe truncate because there could be a lot of authors. We do this to 40. On second thought, we might actually want the title to be longer than this, but what can you do? We look for a book title, we look for a journal, and then we basically return a list of all of this stuff. Title, author, journal. So we convert I'm pretty sure what we do here is we convert what the bibtex package gives us into a list that looks like this, which is what I wanted to work on. So now, brw/vertico-bibtex, insert a bibtex citation at point using completing read, and if arg is non-nil, refresh the completion cache. So this is, I think, adapted from some other bibtex, maybe Ivy bibtex or Helm bibtex or something. When arg, clear the cache, initialize completion, and yeah, we get bibtex completion candidates, and then we do that processing we just looked at. We extract the keys, this key right here, and then completion extra property. So this is how we actually integrate marginalia. And I will show you guys what this one looks like because it's pretty cool. List, we've got our annotation function. We take a key, we extract the properties from the key, and then we add these marginalia fields. So we've got title, width, truncate, all this stuff. So we got string, documentation, value, and it'll be, again, I'll show you what this looks like. And then when we select, selection is completing read using vertico and marginalia. And then when we get a selection, we insert it. So what this looks like is, apparently, I think I have a global binding for this. This is what it looks like when I try to insert a citation. So let's look for some of my papers. Obviously the yellow is like unreadable here, but that's just because I don't usually use this theme. It's just for recording. And you'll see here, this is what's great. We've got vertico. It's searching through all my references. It's showing me part of the title, part of the authors, and the journal. Now, obviously, I can make these fields a little wider because I've actually got a lot of space over here. But anyway, it's pretty cool, right? If you would use this package, let me know down below. Obviously, I need a little bit of insistence to make this into a package because I haven't already. And then you hit enter, it inserts it. So this is really handy for writing papers. I used to have to switch back to my refs.bib file. I'd be searching through, looking for that kind of stuff. So I really like this. This helps a lot, I think. These are some of the underlying packages. So obviously I'm basically just writing some glue code between this bibtex completion candidates function provided by bibtex completion and between vertico and marginalia to get all of this working. So I have to install some packages. I think if I made this a real package, these would just be like requires or something. However they do it on ELPA or MELPA. As I write here, it shouldn't be needed to explicitly install these because I thought they came with this package. But it wasn't working for some reason, so I did install them explicitly. I set up a bunch of this stuff through this package actually, tell it refs.bib. This is for looking at files. This is how you open PDFs. Looks kind of similar to before with Zathura. And then Oh, I pass it this so that I can use journal and book title in the completion. So this was fun. This took a lot of work to get working. So I think it'd be worth passing on to other people. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Let's see, Python mode hook. This is actually a recent update to my config. I usually set the fill column to 80, but apparently with black, it wants it to actually be at 79. So in Python mode, I set it to 79, and I also turn on highlight indent guides mode, which I showed off in my recent Python video. But just for fun, we can do highlight indent guides mode. Oh, right, it doesn't look very good in Tango Dart, but if you look really closely, you can see some indent guides here. Okay, here's my Python mode config. Now, you'll notice this is not the Python configuration I did in my recent video. I'm still using old school Python mode. Well, not old school Python mode, because there is an old Python mode built into Emacs. I'm using the package from Melpa or Elpa, whatever. It's supposed to be more modern Python mode, but whatever. This is the Python mode I'm using. I do want to switch to Python TS mode. I ensure it. I add a hook to run this. This is kind of like what we did with the LaTeX mode before. Instead of making a bunch of different Lambda functions for each of these, I just packed them all into one thing and then called the one hook. Config. Yeah, I think this is where pip installs stuff. So this is where flake 8 is. When you've got Python, or when you have IPython, then when I spawn a Python shell, it uses IPython with a simple prompt. I've also got this PyDoc package, which I guess is for documentation in Python. I'm not sure if I use that, actually. If I do use it, it's kind of like hidden under other things. Here's another function. All right, this is the one kind of shortcoming of rainbow mode. It just starts highlighting any colors. So black, of course, is the Python formatter. And this is, yeah, basically this is what I bind instead of just the regular Python black buffer. I want it to sort my imports, then black the buffer, then save the buffer. So this is what I bind. I guess, where did I bind this? Oh, I do the binding down here. Okay. Python do isort. Buffer using isort. I don't know why this is in here. Python do isort. Oh, adapted. Oh, okay. Yes, I think this is in here. Because isort was trying to use this was clashing with my Conda environment stuff. It was telling me that isort wasn't installed because I hadn't installed isort in my Conda environment. But I installed isort globally from the Arch package repositories. So I think I copy and pasted this in, and this used to be a variable, but I just hard-coded isort. Like, it expects isort to be in the path. So if you run into something like that, just paste it in and make it how you want it. And then, yeah, Python do isort around brw Python do isort. So use this instead of this. I also installed the Python black package, which you'll see here, which is where I get that black buffer command. Ensure after Python. Great. This is where I add the bindings. I also have Python TS mode. Okay, so there is one thing in particular that I run into that keeps me using Python mode over Python TS mode, and that is documentation comment formatting. So if you try to format a documentation comment in Python TS mode, it does some really weird stuff with the spacing, or it like won't wrap the paragraph or something like that. So when I run into that and I need to write a doc comment, I switch back to Python mode. Even though I would rather be using the built-in modes all the time. But you'll see we've got hide show mode, vimish fold mode, LSP deferred. got my Python hook from above, and then I bind black buffer here as well. And yeah, I covered this in the recent video. Highlight indent guides mode, I turn it on in Python mode, and I use a character for it. So it'll look kind of like this rather than whatever it uses by default. Okay, next up we got Emacs. I think I'm actually going to take a little break here and go get some dinner because this is taking longer than I expected. So we're not even halfway through this buffer, and I actually load some external files from init.el. So we're going to have to branch out and go find those other files as well to really cover the whole config. So this is probably going to go on for a while longer. I'm going to go get some dinner. See you guys in a bit.